Whatever keeps running through your head is a genuine list of things for you to do. They could be emotions that you want more of or that you want to overcome. And the opportunities to build on these emotions that you want and to help you get rid of the emotions that you don't want will keep appearing in your life through different people until you get and become what keeps running through your head. So whatever that you didn't get or got that you didn't want during your upbringing is what we're here to correct and to help others with, to have happy lives. Whatever you didn't get growing up that you wanted more of just came from a lack of rules that were passed down. It's generational. Getting what you want is all about having the right energy and realizing that the energy is abundant and all around you. And it's about making your body ready to accept what's around you. The universe is ready to flow through you. When you have your epiphanies, it happens for a second and then it goes away because of the blockages that you have in your body. As soon as it hits the blockages and experiences some discomfort, it alters the frequency, and that puts the force field up and doesn't allow you to step into that space. You want to work on opening up your heart and totally getting into that amazing space of acceptance. Forgive the world. First, forgive yourself, and then you can begin. It's time to rise. Real Magic 6. Reading number 6. To extend the sense of loving guidance in your life. That's italicized. To extend the sense of loving guidance in your life. Begin to know that you don't have to sleep to make contact with a soul. If you can connect with the invisible dimension in your sleep, work at believing that the same connection, the same loving guidance is available to you whenever you choose to recognize it. You'll begin to look for this guidance more frequently and less dubiously. Prayer will take on new meaning. It will not be a ritual of silent one-way communication. It will become a virtual transformation in which you put your brain into a higher state and, italicized, literally participate with God in the ebb and flow of your life. Silently listen and be willing to hear communications that will come to you in the form of overwhelming feelings. Be thankful and appreciative for whatever assistance you may receive. Always ask the question, how may I serve you and others in resolving the issue that I'm facing? When you keep your inner communications focused on assisting others and staying purposeful, you truly will receive the answers you seek. Dot, italicized. To find models and companions for your journey. To find models and companions for your journey. Read about the personal experiences of people you admire. As you do, look for the spiritual dimension in their personal journeys. You will invariably find that the people you most admire often go within in times of difficulty and have received the guidance and assistance they sought at the time. Great scientists often report that they feel a special spiritual connection to inner guides as they proceed through their careers. Most autobiographies show that those who are highly successful attribute their success to establishing a connection to a higher part of themselves and to feeling the presence of divine assistance at highly charged moments in their lives. Whether your heroes be athletes, writers, clergymen, astronauts, musicians, artists, business people, or anyone else, virtually all of the truly inspired leaders in their fields reached a point in their lives where they felt they were being guided. They knew that they were not alone, and they began to trust divine guidance in reaching levels they believed could not have been achieved otherwise. Once you know that most people who reach the higher levels of achievement in their areas of expertise have felt the same way, you will not be so squeamish about admitting it to yourself and even seeking it out. Soon you, like me, like Wayne Dyer, will be, quote, going public for those who think this is absurd and, quote, off the deep end. Send them love and stay focused on your purpose. Their skepticism is their current path, as it once was mine and yours. Be at peace with it. Dot, italicized. To learn new ways of relating to others. To learn new ways of relating to others, examine your behavior toward those people in your life whom you feel a need to dominate or control, be it a spouse, children, coworkers, employees, clerks, service people, brothers or sisters, whoever. Take some time to relate to them differently by seeing beyond their physical form to the fullness of God in them. This is a great exercise for shifting to a spiritual consciousness, because you will not be coming from the need to control, judge, or dominate. Instead, you will be attempting to empower those whom you may have previously viewed as subservient to you. Once you begin to see past the physical bodies of those around you, you will begin to relate to the very same invisible force that flows through you and them. I started doing this with my children many years ago. I try to look at the loving thoughts that are behind their actions, to see past their faces and their tiny selves, to the souls they house within their little bodies. When I lose the need to be powerful and controlling, I empower my children to be in control of their own lives. And I see them for what they genuinely are, little souls with bodies, who also have a purpose for being here. When I lose my need to dominate anyone, I help that person get on with his or her purposeful life, and I stay locked on my purpose as well. Dot, italicized. To practice a life without a focus on control. To practice a life without a focus on control. Attempt to help someone do something for themselves where previously you would have instructed them how to do it. Rather than giving an order, try asking the question, what would it take for you to prove that you can do this yourself? Then say, let's work together to make it happen. A simple offer of assistance rather than taking over or giving an order will infuse you with authentic power instead of provoking you to rely on external power methods. This is particularly useful if you can help empower someone with whom you are in conflict. Most conflicts arise from a need to control someone or to prove that you are right and the other person is wrong. If you can give up the need to control as well as the need to be right just once in your own private practice session, then you will be able to empower another person in a unique way. Giving up the need to dominate is at the core of being a spiritual person. Replace the search for external power with genuine, authentic power, which is the ability to empower others to take control in their own lives. To demonstrate to yourself that you are not alone. To demonstrate to yourself that you are not alone. Picture yourself connected by invisible strings to everyone that you encounter. In this vision, as you move to the right, those to whom you are connected also move to the right. As you push, they go tumbling. Now, when you encounter another person, imagine that connection. In this way, you will begin to treat others as if they were truly a part of you. You will have a tendency to extend love and help rather than feel enmity and competition. I have always loved the story of the man who was given a tour of heaven and hell. In hell, he saw a large kettle of soup. The only utensils were a series of very large spoons. However, the handles were all longer than the arms of people, making it impossible to feed themselves. Everyone was in various stages of starvation since they could not bend their arms. In heaven, the man saw the identical scene. However, the people were all healthy and smiling and obviously well fed. When the man inquired about this, he was told by the guide, they were all feeding each other. He was told by his guide, "Oh, in heaven, the people have learned to feed each other." Your purpose is always found in giving to others. This is heaven on earth. To recognize how you've been taught to hate. To recognize how you've been taught to hate. Begin to rethink the concept of enemies and hatred. Make a mental note of all the people you regard as enemies. Realize that you have been taught whom to hate, and that these lessons are only a result of the geographic accident of your birth. In recent years, Westerners were told to hate the Iranians. Then they became our official friends. Then the Iraqis, who were previously our friends, became our enemies. This goes on, with few people ever understanding the simple message. The enemy is hate itself. The enemy is hate itself. And this book was published in 1992. The enemy is hate itself. Rid yourself of this hatred and the list of people whom you are told to hate, and fill yourself with harmony. Once you know yourself and feel love within, you will extend harmony outward to all people, regardless of whom you have been taught to hate. In fact, you will never be a part of that large mass of people who are so willing to hate and kill based upon what they are told is appropriate by their government leaders. Try to imagine that everyone, yes, all people on all sides of an issue, knows that one cannot choose up sides when living on a round planet. Imagine all people refusing to hate or have so-called enemies. You can help the world get to a peaceful place by refusing to have your own hate list and by seeing all members of all conflicts as victims. This does not imply that you want to be victimized by the ugly actions of others. It means you do not have to have hatred and killing in your heart. Reflect your understanding that we are all connected. When you reach outward in anger and hatred, you are in fact hurting not only your supposed enemy, but yourself and all humanity as well. If this message troubles you, remind yourself that it is at the core of all religions and has been encouraged by all spiritual masters since the beginning of recorded history. To put yourself in touch with the non-physical universe, that's italicized. To put yourself in touch with the non-physical universe. Become comfortable with the concept of, italicized, nothingness. Nothingness. Your thoughts come out of the silent, empty space of your mind. From nothingness to a thought, from silence, you suddenly make a noise, effect without cause, in the purely physical sense. Give yourself time to be in touch with this phenomenon of nothingness. Try emptying your mind of thought and then observe as thoughts emerge. Once you know that there is a dimension beyond the world of form that does not obey the laws of motion, you can accept the non-physical world. You must somehow demonstrate to yourself that anything can be created out of nothing. And in fact, it's happening all the time. Miracles do not need a physical cause. And you must get comfortable with the notion by allowing yourself to experience the, quote, something out of nothing phenomenon. You can accomplish this by realizing that you are almost totally empty space yourself. An examination of your body with a high-powered microscope shows that the physical you is nothing more than particles separated by empty space. With even stronger microscopes, you discover that those particles are also subdivided into more dancing particles separated by space. Most of what you think of as your physical body, when viewed from a different perspective, is empty space. So too is your mind, a large lesson in what we have come to call nothingness. Become familiar with this concept of nothingness, and you will be in a place where you can create miracles. Keep track of your thoughts for a portion of a day and remind yourself that they have nothing to do with what you call cause and effect. Where do they come from? Once you are comfortable with this, you will be able to see miracles coming from the same, quote, place. Dot, italicized. To put yourself in touch with your non-physical self. To put yourself in touch with your non-physical self. Remove yourself from the physical world for a brief period of time. If you can immerse yourself in a sensory deprivation tank in which you lose all contact with your senses and experience only the nothingness of your mind, if you do not have access to such a setup, then quietly, within your mind, let go of each of your senses in this exercise. No touch, no taste, no hearing, no sight, no smell. As you let these senses go, as you do every night while sleeping, observe what is happening to your body. The more you are able to let go of your attachment to your body through your all-knowing, all-powerful mind, the less you will use your physical state as a way of assessing your life. This is called getting in touch with your true self, your invisible self. And it's the key to becoming a spiritual being. To keep your focus, italicized, to keep your focus on purpose rather than outcome. To keep your focus, this is important, to keep your focus on purpose rather than outcome. Keep your mind, body, and soul totally in the moment of your activity. 6 million people play tennis every single day in America. 3 million of these people do not win. Does this mean there are 3 million losers every day? In all of, italicized, your activities, stop and ask yourself, quote, truly, why am I doing this? You will find that the outcome, the win, the reward, is just as fleeting as the moments you participate in the activity. Stay on purpose in your activities rather than focusing on the ultimate reward. The wins and losses will still arrive, yet you will find yourself on automatic pilot. Though you may plateau for a while, ultimately you will automatically move to a higher level. Become detached from the outcome of your actions, and paradoxically, your level of performance will climb. Italicized. To rid yourself of a preoccupation with valueless things. To rid yourself of a preoccupation with valueless things. Rethink your attitude about your possessions. Make an inventory of everything you own. Is there anything in that inventory that you would die for? Now think about your values, your ideals, your loved ones, and ask yourself the very same question. You know what your priorities are, and they all have to do with what you think and believe, not with what you own. Detach yourself from those possessions and get your life on purpose, which is to say, make the daily thoughts and actions of your life work toward that which matters to you in the truest sense. You are here for a reason, and it's not to hoard a lot of physical stuff. You came here without that stuff, and you will leave without any of it. What will linger is how you served your ideals and those with whom you came in contact. Stay on purpose and you will find yourself automatically shifting to a spiritual focus in your life. Italicized. To conduct yourself on a spiritual plane. To conduct yourself on a spiritual plane. Begin living one day at a time, emphasizing ethics rather than rules. Inventory all the rules that you follow so emphatically. Inventory all the rules that you follow so emphatically. Rather than conducting your life according to someone else's rules, try having an, quote, ethics day for yourself. Base all of your behavior, including your eating, dressing, working, home life, everything that you do on that day, on ethics rather than rules. Ask yourself, what is the moral, purposeful, loving thing to do, not what the rules are. In this way, you will shift your consciousness away from outcome and toward purpose. Keep in mind that some of the most despicable human behavior has been conducted in the name of, quote, I'm only following the laws. The laws told black people to sit in the back of the bus. The laws said women could not vote. The laws said owning a submachine gun was fine. People who live by ethics have moved away from arcane, victimizing rules. Be that kind of person for a day. Get yourself away from the rules and live ethically, regardless of what the rules have to say. Dot, italicized, to become more peaceful with yourself and the world. To become more peaceful with yourself and the world. Give yourself a quiet time alone daily for 1 week. This is extremely important and something that you will quite likely resist. I encourage you to give yourself this wonderful present and a ticket to real magic at the same time. The best time is early in the morning after a brisk shower and before anyone else arises. Set aside 30 minutes to be alone and peacefully go within and quiet your mind. Sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes and simply focus on emptying your mind and becoming intensely aware of your breathing. You will soon note that you are becoming more peaceful, and even if you get nothing more out of it, you will find that this is an enormous aid in reducing stress and tension in your life. If you stay with it and follow some of the tips I write about in the next chapter, I absolutely, empathetically guarantee that you will discover a part of yourself that will provide you with all of the loving guidance you want in every single area of your life. More than anything else, meditation will shatter the illusion of your separateness. Dot, italicized, to befriend and cultivate your intuition. To befriend and cultivate your intuition. Treat those inner proddings that crop up in your mind as welcome guests instead of labeling them nothing but random hunches. Try stopping yourself during your next intuitive episode, whatever it's about, and make a mental note of what is taking place. Now, instead of ignoring it or pushing it out, ask that intuitive part of yourself, why am I being pushed by my mind in this direction? Develop a dialogue with that intuitive voice and simply note what you learn or what happens in the next few days as a result. By learning to have internal dialogues, you will begin trusting your intuition and ultimately discover its loving presence and valuable contribution to your mind. Consider this ancient story. Insert. Two monks were arguing about the temple flag. One said the flag moved, the other said the wind moved. Master Eno overheard them and said, "It is neither the wind nor the flag, but your mind that moves." The monks were speechless. End quote. The next time you have an intuitive notion that you are tempted to ignore, choose to follow its lead. You must learn to cultivate the habit of trusting your intuition. Notice the outcome of that intuitive action. Begin to notice all the beneficial results that flow into your life when you follow your intuitive voice. Those inner conversations that you have, those debates about what to do and which course to take can best be resolved by simply asking, what is the choice that will keep me on purpose? Then go in that direction, one step at a time. Before long, your intuition will become your most trusted companion, one that you will value and celebrate as it surfaces within your mind. Dot, italicized. To stay focused on what you are for in life rather than what you are against. To stay focused on what you are for in life rather than what you're against. Inventory everything in your life that you are opposed to, and then reword your list to reflect what you are for. Rather than being against evil, be for love. Replace being against your child's bad study habits with being for a self-disciplined young person. As you shift your thoughts away from what you oppose, you will shift your inclination away from fighting those things and to supporting that which is on your, quote, for list. This is an excellent method for eliminating much of the inner turmoil and stress that surfaces from your fight list. Remember, all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. All that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. Dot, italicized. To develop a loving, empowering attitude toward yourself. To develop a loving, empowering attitude toward yourself. Restate everything that you dislike about who you are in positive, affirmative ways. Instead of being against your laziness, be for having more energy. By being for your energy, you will take actions correcting your laziness. By being against your laziness, you will stay angry and upset with yourself and thus weaken your resolve to change. This is true of your weight, your addictions, your entire physiology, and all of your, quote, bad habits. Restate them in terms of what you are for and what you are capable of, and you will automatically empower yourself to correct them. I'm going to read the last sentence of the last paragraph again. I think it sums up pretty much this whole chapter in this one sentence. Remember, all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. Remember, all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. Remember, all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. Remember, all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. Remember, all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. Unless what you support is something that's not helping you. Dot, italicized, to enter a state of enlightenment. To enter a state of enlightenment. Spend more time every day in awe. Yes, in total, complete awe. Be thankful for your liver, your hands, your brain, and your invisible, incomprehensibly awesome mind. Be in awe of the very fact that you showed up here, particularly when you consider the mathematical odds. Observe the functions of your body and the trillions of cells that all work together to make you function. This sense of awe is something to practice daily. The air you breathe, the water you take for granted, the food that grows from infinitesimal seeds to nourish you. The atmosphere, the ozone, all of it. Be thankful and appreciative. And also feel a sense of responsibility to your universe. Treat all life with reverence and awe, and know that it's all working purposefully. A few minutes a day in total awe will contribute to your spiritual awakening faster than any metaphysics course. Enlightenment is simply the silent acceptance and appreciation for what is. In this very moment, you can get into that state of mind by being thankful for the mind and the tools to read these words and realizing how magnificently they are working. Be in awe and be enlightened. Be enlightened, and miracles will be your way of life. Dot, italicized, to move past anger and bitterness. To move past anger and bitterness. Let me guess, focus on love and acceptance, something like that. In your mind, isolate one person such as you feel has wronged you. In your mind, isolate one person such as you feel has wronged you at some time in your life. Someone who has not repaid a long overdue debt. Perhaps an ex-spouse who left or abused you in some way. A parent or a long-lost love who jilted you. Isolate this one person in your thoughts. Now, just for a few moments, instead of feeling hate and bitterness, try to imagine yourself sending them love. Try to grasp the idea that they came into your life to help you learn a lesson, and no matter how painful the lesson, they showed up in your life for a purpose. When you are able to send them love instead of hate, you will not only be healing yourself, you will be on your way to becoming a spiritual person, like Wayne Dyer did with his father when he found his grave and forgave him and loved him. Forgave him for abandoning him and loved him anyway. After being there for like 4 hours. Think of a wrong that was done to you as being like a snake bite. When you are bitten by a snake, there are two sources of pain. One is the bite itself, which cannot be unbitten. It happened, it hurt, and you have the mark to prove it. It's not the bite that kills you, it's the venom running through your veins that kills you. You then go on from there and learn how to avoid snakes in your life. The second source of pain is the venom that is now circulating through you. This is the killer. No one has ever died from a snake bite. It's the aftershock of the venom circulating in the body that is fatal. So it is with hatred and forgiveness. The event happened. It cannot unhappen in your physical world. But the killer is the hatred and anger that continue to circulate in your system like venom long after the bite wound has healed and disappeared. You and only you have the power to send that killer venom out of you. That it's still present within you is your choice. Remember the sage words of Buddha, quote, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." Miracle making is impossible to experience when your insides are poisoned by bitterness toward others. Begin today affirming, quote, "I know I have the power within me to create a life of fulfillment and joy. I am a miracle, and therefore I am a creator of miracles." Begin today affirming, quote, "I know I have the power within me." Say this to yourself. "I know I have the power within me to create a life of fulfillment and joy. I am a miracle, and therefore I am a creator of miracles." End quote. One primary message in this chapter explains how to become a spiritual being having a human experience, rather than a human being having a spiritual experience. This chapter can also be summarized in the words of a simple man who traveled the country in the early 20th century speaking folk wisdom. Will Rogers reminded us all, quote, "So live that you wouldn't be ashamed to sell the family parrot to the town gossip," end quote. Good spiritual advice indeed. Chapter 3, Creating a Miracle Mindset. Creating a miracle mindset. Here's a quote by Abraham Lincoln. "As our case is new, we must think and act anew." End quote. The final task on the journey to real magic is to set your mind, your invisible self, on the path of miraculous living. In the previous chapter, you examined the idea of a purposeful universe and of you as a purposeful entity within that universe. You examined how to align your thoughts and actions with the divine purpose that brought you from a formless state in eternity into this world of form. Your awareness, you want your awareness now to also acknowledge the existence of an available loving guidance that you want only to learn how to use wisely. That you only all you want to do is learn how to use it wisely. You want your awareness now to also acknowledge the existence of an available loving guidance. And all you want to do is know how to use it wisely. You may feel what Hazrat Inayat Khan meant when he said, quote, The mystic does more than quote scriptures. They not only say, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God," their whole life is absorbed in that seeking. I replaced his with they like 3 times. It's a whole life absorption, which does not, however, demand withdrawing from the world nor changing your living or working situation. What you italicize will change is the invisible reality that is uniquely yours. What follows in this chapter is a guide for shifting your mindset to experiencing a world where real magic is not only possible, it's your birthright. With this shift, miracle making will become something that you not only believe in, also miracle making will become something that you manifest in your everyday life. Wayne Dyer says, "I have studied and spent time with those whom I consider miracle workers, and I know from their experiences and my own that this is the paradigm of the mind that consistently succeeds in creating that miracle mindset." New heading, 14 keys for creating a miracle mindset. 14 keys for creating a miracle mindset. One, italicize, reserve your judgment and disbelief. Reserve your judgment and disbelief. Like most of us, you have very likely been taught to be skeptical about anything other than what you can see and touch. You want to suspend that disbelief, just like you do while watching a movie or reading a novel. When you are watching a movie or reading a novel, you willingly suspend disbelief. In this way, you allow yourself to enjoy the story without constantly reminding yourself that you are the reader or observer. And so it is with the world of real magic. You willingly suspend your disbelief and temporarily enter a world of ultimate possibilities. If you don't like it at any point, you can discontinue the activity and rejoin the world of skepticism and disbelief. Let me share with you an experience I had recently. In Shirley MacLaine's book called Going Within, there's a description of a gentleman from Brazil named Mauricio Penicet. She describes him as possessing miraculous powers, unlike anything I had ever witnessed in my life at the time of reading her book. All of my training had, in fact, led me to consider such claims with doubt and skepticism. Here is an excerpt. Insert. Mauricio Penicet was born March 6, 1930, in Minas Gerais, Brazil. He was the third child born into a family in which the father, a Methodist minister, was also interested in metaphysics. But shortly, Mauricio's mother claimed she couldn't handle her son's uncontrollable rebelliousness. Out of desperation, when he was 9 years old, his parents sent him to live with his grandmother on a farm. He often walked to the forest where he later claimed that, quote, lights followed him. The lights appeared as shimmering balls and, quote, talked to him whenever they appeared. When he reached puberty, the lights disappeared. In 1949, at age 19, he joined the army And one night while he was on watch, the lights reappeared. In 1969, the lights became so strong that they again began to, quote, speak. On April 19, 1969, one of the lights spoke so strongly that Mauricio could not ignore it. It said, quote, "You must use your own light to heal the sick. You must go to the hospital and begin." End quote. Also end of the insert. I was intrigued with Mauricio, but I also have to admit I wondered whether Shirley had been tricked in some clever way, or even perhaps had, quote, gone over the edge. After all, we all, italicized, know that lights do not speak and act in the way she describes in her book. My opportunity to suspend my disbelief was to arrive the following summer. Toward the end of our annual summer stay in Maui, I was the guest speaker at the Unity Church of Maui in Hawaii. This is something that I do each year before departing, as my way of returning something to that beautiful spiritual Pacific Ocean paradise where I have received so much inspiration and divine guidance. After my talk, a woman came up to me and invited my wife, Marcy, and me to join her and her husband and a small group of friends at their home in the city of Lahaina. The woman, Gail Longhi, and her husband, Bob, own one of the most famous and successful restaurants in Hawaii. Gail explained that she had a very special guest named Mauricio, whom Shirley MacLaine had written about in Going Within. Based upon what she heard me speaking about at the church, she thought we would enjoy a private meeting with this remarkable man. I immediately recalled the reaction I had had while reading about Mauricio's talents, and I happily accepted the invitation. Marcy and I agreed that this was an opportunity to experience firsthand the magic of this master, and, equally important, to willingly suspend our disbeliefs and judgments. When we arrived, we were told that Mauricio would see us in about 45 minutes. He was having a session with Gail's mother in a bedroom that had a window overlooking the patio. Suddenly, while we were outside on the patio, we saw what appeared to be lightning bolts in that bedroom. It seemed to be exploding with enormous blasts of white light. A literal light show. Gail's mother descended the stairs soon after. She walked past us with a vacant, peaceful look and disappeared into another part of the house. Mauricio followed down the stairs a few minutes later in a sleeveless t-shirt that was drenched with perspiration. We met him in the kitchen where he was consuming large amounts of water. He appeared to be in his late 50s, was short, with magnificent white hair and a stocky build, and was gloriously serene and humble. Apologetic, he explained he would need another 15 or 20 minutes before seeing us. We thanked him and he replied in broken English, "No, thank me. God's work, not mine." End quote. About 20 minutes passed, during which Bob assured everyone that there was no possibility of fraud. He explained that the light show had taken place in his own bedroom and that he had escorted Mauricio personally into the room and had had the first session with him. He even discussed how he had searched the room. I was simply waiting with my open mind, my willing suspension of disbelief. Mauricio asked us to follow him upstairs. Marcy and I had decided to do this together so we could corroborate each other's experience and share what we had witnessed together. We lay on the bed diagonally with our heads side by side and held hands the entire time. Mauricio started a cassette player and the room was filled with low volume meditation music from a flute. He came up behind our heads and placed his fingers on Marcy's forehead. He then spoke loudly the words, quote, "Energia, energia, energia," and some words in Portuguese that we could not understand. He removed his fingers from Marcy's forehead and snapped his fingers loudly, repeating, "Energia, energia," again and again. Suddenly, miraculously, the room was literally lit up. Light emanated from his hands, and it was as if lightning had struck right in the room. Marcy had her eyes closed, but could still see the light through her eyelids. I never once closed my eyes, and I was transfixed. Then Mauricio touched my forehead with his fingers. His hand was actually very hot. Again, quote, "Energia, energia, energia," followed by some Portuguese words. I felt as if I'd temporarily gone to another dimension. The light and energy were electrical. My entire body convulsed with enormous shock. The room was aglow, from total darkness to a bright light from this man's hands. We stayed in the bedroom for over 20 minutes. During this time, he put his hands on the knee and the ankle of my leg, which I had injured in a bad fall on some slippery rocks the previous week. I felt enormous heat, and the light again emanated from Mauricio and lit up the room. He did this 12 to 15 times during our session. Then he left the room and walked downstairs drenched with perspiration. Before he left, he asked us to stay on the bed for a few moments and let the experience sink in, explaining that we might experience some dizziness. We remained on the bed holding hands in silence for several minutes, feeling as close as we'd ever felt in our lives together. We didn't need to speak. Slowly, we walked down the stairs together, looking past the other 7 or 8 people gathered in the room. My wife is extremely close to our children. She totally devotes herself to her babies and seems to become more and more intensely bonded with each of the 7 she has given birth to. On the night of our meeting with Mauricio, our teenage daughter, Stephanie, was babysitting our daughter, Sage Ickes. Who was 9 months old and nursing full-time. Marcy came downstairs after our session almost trance-like, with a totally different, peaceful look on her face. A few moments later, the phone rang, and it was Stephanie telling us that she was having difficulty with the baby, who wouldn't stop crying and fussing. At all other times, a phone call like this would have caused us to leave immediately so that Marcy could nurse the baby and give her the comfort that only she could provide. But Marcy was in another world after the experience with the lights. Her response to Stephanie shocked me out of my own trance-like state. She said, "I'm sorry, Stephanie. You will just have to take care of it. We'll be home shortly. In the meantime, you do whatever you have to do to make her stop crying," end quote. This was a different Marcy than I had ever experienced before or since. As we drove home, we both agreed that we had just had an experience that was very special and beyond description. The next day I noticed that a bothersome growth on the skin of my collarbone. The next day I noticed that a bothersome growth on the skin of my collarbone, which had been there for several years, was completely gone. And the leg I had injured was no longer sore. In fact, the scabs were almost totally healed over, and there was hardly any evidence of the injury. I had been meditating on writing this book for several weeks before this event took place. I kept hearing reassurances in my meditation that I would receive all of the proof that I required in order to write a book about manifesting miracles. I repeatedly was assured that the doubt would be gone and I would know. The presence of Mauricio and the actual experience of seeing the lights felt like convincing evidence that real magic is indeed real. I believe that I experienced real magic because I had willingly suspended my disbelief. I am convinced that suspending disbelief is the first step in setting one's mind for miracle making. I encourage you to cultivate a new, self-declared openness to anything and everything being a possibility for you. The following riddle from the mathematician Douglas Hofstadter, last name is spelled Hofstadter, is a quick test of how open your mind is. Insert. A father and his son are driving to a football game. They begin to cross a railroad crossing, and when they are halfway across, the car stalls. Hearing a train coming in the distance, the father desperately tries to get the engine started again. He is unsuccessful and the train hits the car. The father is killed instantly, but the son survives and is rushed to the hospital for brain surgery. The surgeon, on entering the operating theater, turns white and says, "I cannot operate on this boy. He is my son." The question is, what is the relation between the boy and the surgeon? Take a few minutes to ponder this one before looking at the answer, which I will write in reverse. Okay, so I'm going to read this backwards. Mother, M-O-T-A, mother, boys, the, was, surgeon. The surgeon was the boy's mother. Okay. Surgeon was the boy's mother. Having an open mind and suspending our disbelief allows us to experience new vistas, while our closed mind and unwillingness to shed our disbeliefs keeps us trapped in our old ways of thinking and seeing. Real magic is available only to those who can imagine any and all possibilities, while letting the how it will happen take care of itself. What I am asking of you here is simply to do that, nothing more. Just open your mind and suspend your disbelief. This is the beginning of miracle making. Suggestions for implementing this mindset. Italicized, dot italicized. Practice inner affirmations, giving yourself permission to adopt new ideas. Practice inner affirmations, giving yourself permission to adopt new ideas. Say to yourself, I will keep an open mind. I refuse to judge anyone or any idea. I am open to an infinite number of possibilities that are presently available to me. Just because I can't see it or don't fully understand it does not mean it's non-existent. Today, for this one day, I will suspend my disbelief and be open to anything being possible for me. I will act on my new openness rather than my old skepticism. Italicized. Keep one little corner of your mind open to miracle making. Keep one little corner of your mind open to miracle making. Investigate the lives of others who have experienced miracles. Know this is possible for you too. Talk to your friends and new acquaintances and ask them if they have ever experienced that which you would consider a miracle. Read books and articles about people who have had these kinds of experiences. By allowing yourself to be receptive to these stories and genuine experiences, you will open up your mind to these very possibilities for yourself. 2. Create a real magic zone in your mind, is where I'll begin the next reading on page 66. Whatever keeps running through your head is a genuine list of things for you to do. They could be emotions that you want more of or that you want to overcome. And the opportunities to build on these emotions that you want and to help you get rid of the emotions that you don't want will keep appearing in your life through different people until you get and become what keeps running through your head. So whatever that you didn't get or got that you didn't want during your upbringing is what we're here to correct and to help others with, to have happy lives. Whatever you didn't get growing up that you wanted more of just came from a lack of rules that were passed down. It's generational. Getting what you want is all about having the right energy and realizing that the energy is abundant and all around you. And it's about making your body ready to accept what's around you. The universe is ready to flow through you. When you have your epiphanies, it happens for a second and then it goes away because of the blockages that you have in your body. As soon as it hits the blockages and experiences some discomfort, it alters the frequency, and that puts the force field up and doesn't allow you to step into that space. You want to work on opening up your heart and totally getting into that amazing space of acceptance. Forgive the world. First, forgive yourself, and then you can begin. It's time to rise.